What a night. What an incredible night for professional wrestling. What a huge night for the WWE. I am Kev Kellum. This is the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel on Facebook, on your podcast ears, wherever you are. Live wrestling is back. Electric drama from WWE dripping off screens around the world. When those screens could actually get a full-on uninterrupted live feed from the show tonight. We will get into all of it. Oh, and by the way, John Cena is back. It's a huge night. Sound off. Get on screen. Share the link or you stink. Money in the Bank. Tell us what you think.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. What's up, everybody? I am Kev Kellum. That is JB Huskers. Jeremy Bennett in Nebraska. Why we got to ask you. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you thought of this show. Sound off. We have just coming to you live after the show. Hit the thumb button. Tell us how you feel about it. I know some people are already telling us they're angry about it. Get your comments on screen. The most interactive pro wrestling talk show coming at you. Everything you say drives the conversation. Jeremy, what a night for the WWE. It is an undeniably eventful evening for the company. A lot of upward trajectory for this show.
We got an appetizer on Friday of what life is going to be like back to normal in the WWE with SmackDown, and holy hell did the crowd bring it tonight. I don't know, it might be hyperbole. It might be that we just saw it happen, but that was truly one of the biggest pops in WWE history with John Cena.
That was an absolutely massive ending to the show.
That was insane. And I mean, I was expecting it. WrestleVotes put out a little tease. So I was kind of expecting it to happen. But still, my God, it was so good to see him back.
Let's just see the fans, see what you guys are saying right away. Stick with us if you're here with us for the first time. Go ahead, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We are making that march towards 20,000. We have live shows with Vince Russo every single Monday night, Dutch Mantel every single Friday. This week alone, we interviewed Johnny Gargano and Natalia and Nikki Ash. ASH. I got to get over that. She won a big night for her, too. We'll get into Big E, all those big things, and all of your opinions will drive the conversation. Michael texting in here saying, that was effing unreal. Best show of the last 2 years. I'm in lockdown in Melbourne, Australia. That lit up my day. A shout out to our friends in Australia. We know you guys have had a surge in COVID cases. There is a concern about surge of COVID cases here in the United States, but higher vaccination rates change things. I talked to some fans that were heading to Texas for the show, and we're concerned about COVID there. So we understand that still overrides all of this, but let's focus on the positivity. Let's focus on the good here. A lot of people saying great pay-per-view, solid feeling. I'm a new on here. Michelle, if you're new, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. If you're new with this on Facebook, go ahead, turn those reminders on so you know when we go live for you guys as well. And join us on YouTube. It really helps us out, gives us a little bit more support in the things we're trying to do here. But let's talk about the ending of the show. Roman Reigns and Edge have this incredible match.
Yeah.
It was very drawn out. The pace of it was very drawn out. I think they had nearly 30 minutes, a lot of ups and downs. And I think what was supposed to be achieved in this match was achieved. Roman was the odds-on favorite despite Edge coming back with everything that he's been through. But Roman has been such a hot character. His evil, almost Darth Vader, I believe what I'm doing is the right thing to do type villain, even though everything he's doing is pretty evil. But the way he says it, like, I'm the guy. The in-match dialogue where they really had the commentary pull back. Someone had, every time he yelled, they really got in his ear. The lines, I'm winning. Like when he was beating him up in the corner, he's like, why are you telling me I suck when I'm winning? Like he was so in his lane. Anyone who was on this guy's backside a few years ago saying he couldn't wrestle are now kissing it.
Yeah, this was our buddy Scott Fishman, who works in Orlando for TV Insider. He had a very good tweet just talking about just how they let things breathe in that match. You know, they turn up the volume at the right time. If I could find the tweet real quick, it was so well said. I want to read it. But it was basically, you know, this was I think it clocked in right about 33 to 35 minutes, I think it was. And it was just, it was a tremendously built match. And here was the tweet. He said, Edge and Roman Reigns demonstrating how effective it is to let a match breathe, work up to those big moments. That was that was just so well said from Scott Fishman there. And I completely agree. They turned up the dial. You could feel it, the dial turning up. And then when it hit, they just kicked it into gear and gave us the main event that we deserved for this this special pay-per-view.
It was something else. It is absolutely fantastic. And we have Jose saying, I'm adjusting for you guys in studio. What exactly is he saying? And add him back. Do you have so we can add the overlay? We'll have you come back in here in a minute and have him add the overlay. Jeremy, there we go. It is quite an event here for everything that's going. Look at that. Thank you so much, Jose, doing that for us off screen.
Thanks, Jose.
Here's the issue with this. We thought the show was going to end at 9:30. So like 9:30 Central. And that's been the way that most WWE pay-per-views have been going. This one went nearly an hour over that time. That is something with the network and streaming now is they have no end date. They can kind of keep going with these shows. This was a long pay-per-view, but I'm going to accept it because of the circumstances. This is the first one in front of a live audience. This one is very much a hard reboot. They could have called this WWE Reboot 2021. I think people would have been on board with it. There was a lot of, did you notice this tonight too? There was a lot of reminding you about what certain characters have done in the last year.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
and things that had happened a long time ago.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, unfortunately, with Peacock crapping out, I really wanted to see reactions to those 8 guys in the Money in the Bank, which I'm going to have to go back and watch later on because I want to see what everybody is reacting to. Like the women, you could find out, Naomi got a huge pop. Alexa Bliss got a huge pop, and then, you got to like Charlotte and Rhea. The crowd was chanting, "We want Becky," but then they won them over with a tremendous match. So it was kind of interesting to kind of see those crowd dynamics. And then, like I said, I'll have to go back and watch Money in the Bank, the men's match, just to see how the crowd reacted to those 8 men.
I mean, we'll get into details in the whole card here. But this was an incredible show for WWE.
Yeah,
there was very, very little bad on the show, and the bad parts on the show had nothing to do with the wrestlers. Had absolutely nothing to do with the wrestlers, or even WWE themselves. It had a lot to do with basically Peacock, from what we can tell. Prior to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, there was serious technical issues that ran from the beginning of a backstage segment with Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, all the way through the introductions, and kind of ended, thankfully, right when the match started. It got done before it was needed here. And then you also have the fans online who apparently are just so jaded and angry about WWE and what they've been doing the past few months that just can't get over the idea that this show is good. There was literally people tweeting out like, I don't understand why the show is good. I don't get why this show is like this. I don't get why people are tweeting this.
Yeah.
And there was plenty of people doing that online tonight. They just couldn't understand why this is pretty good. And you have other people just angry that the Usos won tonight as well. We'll get into that.
Hey, your boy on the chat here.
Thank you, Mr. James. Espanto. Why? Now, if you stick with Sportskeeda, you too will get your own introduction like that.
If James ever goes into wrestling, we have a Kev Kellum as his manager, kind of like a Ricardo Rodriguez, right?
I love seeing all the new people here. If you're with us for the first time, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll always have fun with you here. Edge got close. Let's get back into that main event. Yeah. Edge got very, very close. All they had to do in that match is convince you that he was going to win. And that he could, they got you to believe it. That's it. They got you to believe that he could win the title. And Rollins came out there. You knew Rollins was going to interfere, but they did a little switcheroo where they didn't make it complete. They did the run-in thing, but they didn't make it complete. I like that the Mysterios and the Usos also prevented it. It was just enough run-in. It was not too much.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
And they didn't have John Cena influence the outcome. They just had John Cena come out at the end of the night. So just when you think it's the bittersweet Roman wins again, here comes John Cena. This was done to a T. Absolutely to a T. Yeah. A super hot crowd added something to this. This was the right move for WWE to do at the right time.
Yeah, I think, and obviously, I kind of wanted Cena and Roman to be non-title. I almost want anybody that's part-time to not just come in and get a title shot. But, I mean, that's the world we're going to live in. We're probably getting Goldberg tomorrow. But it'll be great if Biggie at least makes an appearance tomorrow. The crowd is going to pop heavy for that. We'll get to that later. But, at the same time, though, Roman Reigns has literally built an empire, no pun intended. He has literally defined what it is to be a champion, much like a Deonna Purrazzo in Impact in the Knockouts division. Roman Reigns in the men's division for SmackDown is defining what it is to be a champion, and he is basically destroying all comers. And I probably think he's going to take Cena at SummerSlam. A lot of people think maybe this is where Cena breaks Ric Flair's record. I don't know if it'll ever be broken, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be Roman.
Has something crazy? What's to say they don't do this on television before then?
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be SummerSlam. It's got to be SummerSlam.
I mean, it's going to be SummerSlam, but if there was going to be something freaky that they wanted to do, it would be, and also now you have to think of, if you're NBC, we want that match on Peacock. But if you're Fox, we want something with that. So at least Fox gets to say, well, we get the build up to the match. John Cena's going to do something on Fox to build up to this match.
He'll be there,
and
Friday.
then NBC gets it. So I guess they're both happy, because you got to understand they both want to be in the John Cena business.
Yeah, exactly. And then we saw what Live Crowd does. The SmackDown rating went up by almost 500,000, I believe, from the week before. So, with John Cena, though, I mean, you heard the pop. The pop. It was amazing that the pop overshadowed the John Cena sucks chants, singing, always singing along with the song. The pop overshadowed those.
No,
that was just how insane.
Even if you wanted to say he sucked, you'd still lose your mind, because here's John Cena and you didn't know you were getting him, or at least you were expecting it and the anticipation is there. There's other people saying they're a major Roman Reigns fan. Seth Rollins is a crybaby. Roman doesn't know how to have a good, clean match. Dude, was robbed. He was robbed.
I love when Rollins goes into meltdown mode. Rollins plays that character so well. I love it.
Friend of the show, Allie Darce Guy, saying John Cena rocks. John Cena rocks. Definitely
doesn't have the same tune, though.
It doesn't. It doesn't have the same tune. John Cena sucks. And also this is gonna, and if anyone's really upset, I think there's gonna be some people that are just okay with John Cena coming back, because I know so that's cool.
Yeah.
And they're younger millennial fans. There's a crowd of younger fans that don't hate John Cena. They just revere him as their Hulk Hogan.
And to be honest, I've said this many times, pointed this out many times. Roman Reigns has not been pinned in a singles match since 2019, October of 2019. I don't think they're going to give John Cena that rub. They give that rub to probably someone that is up and coming, that will get a huge shot to the moon, or to the moon, as Cameron Grimes would say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they give that to Cena. I honestly think it's just going to be another stepping stone, another notch in the belt of Roman Reigns' great title reign, and then we save that for somebody else that can take Roman down finally, whenever that may be. I don't know when that's going to be. Nobody knows.
Brian, a buddy of mine, texting your Skull 17 saying, "Oh hail!" That is a response to old school, all hail the name, all bow down to the name Seth Rollins. Yes, that is old school Seth Rollins, some Tyler Black stuff back in the day there. Let's get into the conversation here. Let's move on to another big match. And if you're with us for the first time, go ahead, hammer the like buttons. Let us know what you think with your reactions. They really, really help the show. I know a lot of people joining us right after a pay-per-view. If you can't catch the whole thing, don't worry. You can get this. You can listen to it on demand, watch it on demand. We'll have the audio and the podcast up as well. And also check out our website, sportskeeda.com. A lot of different exclusives up there this week with a lot of big names just from WWE and all the latest news. A lot of fun stuff as well. Here's a question about big returns. Becky Lynch teased an appearance tonight, but did not appear. And there was a crowd expecting Becky Lynch, and we're chanting for her a couple times during tonight's match.
And then Charlotte gave the old the bird.
Yeah, that was a moment, wasn't it? Marco just texting you and saying, "Do we get Becky tomorrow night on the kayfabe 1 year anniversary of her legalization?" That does match up. That would be the 1 year of her dropping the title.
Yeah,
that does line up there.
Man, that was such a moment too, like with Asuka in the ring, and nobody knew like the genuine reaction Asuka had. Our buddy Rico, I think he's got maybe a good idea here.
Imagine Karrion Kross being the one who beat Roman. That'd be nuts. A lot of different takes here. Let's move on to this one. A feel-good moment for sure if you're a longtime fan of WWE, a universally beloved character in WWE, Big E.
Oh.
He is successful winning the men's Money in the Bank match, a thriller of a match. Very much had a lot of great players in it. Shinsuke Nakamura shined in this match. Seth Rollins shined in this match. Kevin Owens had some great moments in this. Ricochet really raised his stock.
Yeah.
Walking the ropes, doing backflips off him, jumping off the top rope to the ladder, doing a bunch of incredible things. He was Spider-Man again. Even if he didn't win this match, he definitely raised his stock quite a bit. John Morrison nearly winning this match.
Yeah. I thought when he popped out that dripstick, I thought maybe that was the end of the match there. I almost kind of thought that was going to be the end there. That was a good near fall for that. It was kind of hard to get into this match at first because we were all so annoyed with Peacock, and so by
the time it got going, going.
That Ricochet, that springboard off to the outside, holy man. Like Pat McAfee said, the Houston knows the two words that fit that description, and they chanted them very loudly because that was a moment that'll live in GIF form forever by Ricochet there. And the end, literally a big ending. I mean, holy cow! And Kevin Owens, I mean, taking that bump, doing the double stunner, there was a lot of things he did well too.
He got power bombed through that ladder, and that was brutal. And immediately was grabbing his head, and that was concerning to me. But you worry for people like that when they take those really, really scary ones. There, man.
It's gonna hurt in the morning.
Oh, I think everyone's gonna be hurting in the morning. Definitely. Continue to let us know what you think, and if you're watching the show, rate the show. Give us your rating on the show. And everyone thinks of ratings, the 5-star ratings. We do this rating. We do 10. You got to go the gamut of 10. All right. 1 being the worst show we've ever seen, and this definitely wasn't, and 10 being the best. And I'm going to tell you, my show is north of 7 right now, and it is north of 7. It is up there. We'll give our rating later on the show, but you let us know what you think of the show and give us your thoughts on it. Big E winning this is a big moment for his career. This is the most significant win of his career. He's had the Intercontinental title before. He was at Kofi's side at WrestleMania. He had all those different tag team things. He's been a complete player. We have people dropping 10s and 9s on this show. They're feeling really good about it.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods with a great tweet. All 3 guys hugging backstage with Big E holding the briefcase. So check out at Austin, or it's Austin Creed, Xavier Woods. You know where to find him on the Twitter. A great picture posted by him there backstage of the New Day celebrating with the title.
Now the show is almost universally praised by everyone. Jason Reed's giving it 7.5. Some people give it 9. Robert Richard saying, Peacock could have been better, but overall it's a 10. I agree. The Peacock stuff was annoying, but everything else in Peacock makes it worth it for me.
That was the first time Peacock screwed up for me, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the first time. I mean, the people are upset about the interface of it, the way it's laid out and the way you can find things. I can understand that completely, but I also like Peacock because of everything else that's on it. I can go 2 clicks. I can go from WWE to every episode of SNL. I think that's awesome.
I watched golf coverage this week from the Open there. So,
and during the Olympics, it's gonna be fun. I can flip on and over. But also, it's that streaming quality. That's not on WWE. That's on Peacock. That isn't acceptable. If you're WWE, I'd be upset about it.
Yeah, they should have expected an uptick of hitting that server because there's so many more fans that are getting back into it with a live crowd now.
I wonder if that was an issue with it tonight.
A lot of people probably this is probably their first viewing a WWE since March of 2020, possibly. I would not be surprised. I know a few friends of mine,
and it was treated that way. Wasn't it treated that way? Hey, here are all these characters. Here's what they've been doing for the last year and a half.
Yeah, and we always said, I've always said on the when we do our top story Monday through Friday, I go, this seems bland right now because I think they're holding things back. I think they're holding things back for when the live crowds return. And you saw it tonight. We have not seen John Cena wrestle a match in quite a while, and we're going to get him at SummerSlam. And as you saw tonight, the crowd loved it. So
let's jump over to the other Money in the Bank match on this show. It was the women's match. Now, I'll be frank, I don't think this match was as good as the men's, and that is no shot at the women. They opened the show. They opened the show strong, but in comparison to the 2 ladder matches, people are always going to compare. Like they do that with the Hell in a Cells. What was the best Hell in a Cell match of the 1 or the 2 you did on the show? I thought the men went a little bit crazier. I thought the women had a lot of fun in this match, though. Specifically, Alexa Bliss sporting a new look. This is the first time we've seen Alexa Bliss wrestle in a few months. So that was intriguing and different, and she did some very unique things. Very physical in the ring. Very also she kind of like hung over every introduction.
That was cool. I like that. I like those shots when
it was interesting, and everybody kind of sold it the way she kind of like was perched like a crow staring at everybody, and it got intense. And she took out Nikki Ash. Nikki, almost a superhero, Cross, her former tag team partner, and you kind of thought that it was her match to win. And then Nikki came back and won this match and got the triumphant moment.
I thought it was a clever spot. You had three pairs of women battling on
everybody
ladders.
Up on the top of the ladders, reaching for the title, and here she is climbing up through the whole mess of things, because she did that a couple times in the match. Everyone would be kind of crowded, and then she would smash through and get it, and it kind of was a reoccurring note, and it was a good storytelling point.
Yeah, and I was, I actually had originally picked Nikki Cross to win this, and then I kind of flipped over to Alexa with my official prediction, and but it was kind of interesting because Nikki didn't really get a big pop when she came out compared to like Liv Morgan got a tremendous pop, Naomi and Alexa Bliss got good pops, and I was kind of surprised Nikki didn't, because if you check out her Instagram thing, she's doing the superhero things really inspired a lot of art and a lot of fans, like the kids especially.
Yes. Guys, we're dudes. Okay, we're dudes and men and women of a certain age. We're nerds. We've been watching this our whole lives. This isn't for us.
Yeah.
This is for younger fans. This is for different fans. This is for the families. This is scratching that Bailey itch that Bailey did when she came in. This is a feel-good character for a time that's supposed to feel good.
Yeah.
Is it a wildly original new idea? No, they've done it before. I know. Well, they did it with the Hurricane. Yes, I know.
And hopefully we get a segment with Hurricane and Mighty Molly eventually. I know what Nikki has publicly said.
We interviewed her. Yeah. When we interviewed her, she brought that up and said that she was interested. She also said, "I'm inspired by Black Widow. I'm going to learn some flying." I learned some fly. She did some flying tonight. So
I think
interesting.
I think much like Rhea and Charlotte didn't win over the crowd right away with the "We Want Becky" chants, and then they just had a match we'll get into later on, and they flipped the crowd. I think by the end, Nikki flipped the crowd as well. She didn't get the initial reaction.
No, the reaction when she came out wasn't as big. Alexa got the biggest one, and Alexa for some reason was kind of acknowledging a CGI puppet that was projected on the screen. So WWE trying to do their wildly stylized production that drives everyone crazy, but I get it. I get what they're trying to do.
I'm not a fan of the puppet, but I liked Lily, the AR Lily on the entrance. I liked that.
It was interesting. This is something only WWE's doing, so they, some of that stuff drives people crazy, but it makes their show stand out and be different.
Well, like the New Days, the little Mario platforming video game, that's pretty damn impressive too.
I want to ask you guys, if you're watching for the first time, subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of people join us for these pay-per-views for the first time. We're doing a lot of really cool stuff, and I love all of your energy. I also drop in the link to our podcast as well, which you guys can get on Apple and all these different things. Shout out to Rest Friend. Hey, Rest Friend. What's up, Iridian Fierro? Check out her channel. It's very funny. Okay, I've stopped crying so I can watch the post show. Iridian is one of the biggest John Cena fans I know.
Oh, happy tears and happy tears.
And let me just say, Iridian, there's some real chisme going on backstage. I probably said that wrong. She's gonna text me later and tell me I said that wrong. So this was a wild show with a lot of different feel-good moments in it. Both the Money in the Bank matches took the stock of long-term, dedicated, always in the mid-card players and said, all right, now we're going to bring you up to a certain level. And you noticed Drew McIntyre cut a promo where people were kind of mixed. Do you hear him? But when he said, like, why don't you just make some noise for me? And they made some noise.
Might have been Drew's, though. Those might not have been boos. Those
the Drews.
Because when he was climbing the ladder, was saying a little bit of boo. Hey, there was a little bit of booze, but when you heard all those backstage, that was a lot of Drews, not booze. Because when he was getting ready to climb the ladder by himself, and you think he could win, there was only a hair of booze, just a tiny bit. So
I said Drew Earns.
Yeah,
I said Drew Earns.
Yeah, those are Drews.
That Simpsons reference. I said Drew Earns.
Somebody tweeted that at me, that Simpsons gif.
But the crowd saying 3-2-1 in that match was really cool.
It tells you that they're not
No.
they're not hating him yet, and they did the right thing. And I think I predicted that on Top Story. I said Jinder's going to come out and screw Drew, and that's exactly what happened. And I think that's best for business to keep Drew from being oversaturated, because we were teetering on that point of Drew being oversaturated.
Let's get into another match here. Bobby Lashley dominating Kofi Kingston. A very, very short match, well under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This was, I wouldn't say a squash match. Kofi got some offense in this, but this was a reminder that Bobby Lashley, when he dials it in, wants to be a monster, and WWE has some investment in him staying as champion. They tried to do some shaky things and show you some doubt in the character, but I think there was simply just a small respite after WrestleMania to remind you that this guy is still the Almighty, and this is still the new and improved Bobby Lashley that's gotten to a whole nother level. So what do you think of that? Kofi Kingston gonna stay in the mid card, buddy.
My prediction changed on Monday. I was predicting Kofi for weeks to win this match, and when Lashley said screw the VIP lounge, screw these women, screw the partying, he flipped that switch on Monday.
I'm done with his bullshit.
He flipped that switch on Monday, and I immediately changed my prediction to Lashley winning it. So I think it went 7.5 minutes. A lot of it was Lashley just beating the holy hell out of Kofi. A lot of people upset because they got flashbacks to when Lesnar did that. Of course, Lesnar did it in like under 30 seconds compared to this one.
We have people in the chat bitching about Drew being in the match that he didn't win under the idea that he could win. He didn't win, so you don't have the thing to be mad about anymore.
Yeah, don't hinder the Jinder, as Sean just said on the chat.
Yeah, so Jinder interfered and cost the match. I almost thought when one of Jinder's goons pulled him off the ladder, that he like landed on his knee. So immediately I was like, ugh. But immediately he was moving. I was like, oh, okay, all right, good. I love this. I thought the undercard was really, really fun. There was a lot of different things on the show that were fantastic, that I really enjoyed. I want to know what people thought of the show. Tell me what your favorite match on the show was. Colleen saying all of them were great matches. There was no favorite. So no individual standout. I could say that to a degree, because this was, we had Friday, and that was in front of a crowd in Texas. But this is, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that don't watch Raw and SmackDown. They're only going to watch the pay-per-views. Plenty of people like that, or at least they pay more attention to the whole show because it's a pay-per-view, right? The crowd was the MVP of this. It was absolutely fantastic to hear WWE do what they do in front of a crowd. It was special. Yeah. It was special.
Yeah, it's only, it's now we hopefully, Monday Night Raw has been kind of in a lull. It's bounced back a little bit last couple of weeks. So now I think with the crowds and this little reboot, and maybe Big E comes out on Monday, we're gonna have a little fun.
Maybe this whole Goldberg thing that's supposed to happen tomorrow is gonna flip the whole internet switch back the other way to hatred.
I have not seen a positive reaction to the Goldberg news at all. But.
This will be certainly interesting here. This is a good night for wrestling, whether or not you're a fan of WWE. This is just good for the genre of wrestling, guys. It's still Reaganomics. It's still trickled down here. Anthony Bruno, bring up this match. We got to talk about it here. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Geez, the Charlotte Flair. She's not Rhea Ripley. I'm just so excited. I got to talk about this.
She's gonna put you She's gonna put you down for that.
She made quite the entrance with that robe. Rhea Ripley and her got quite the introduction, right? And they start to have their match, and before they even lock up, they get the Becky chance. We want Becky. I would say this match had the lightest intrigue going into the show, even though it's still Charlotte Flair, one of the best. She's certainly the best female wrestler in the world, one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world. Doesn't matter who you are, right? She's up there. But people aren't feeling this combination of her and Rhea Ripley, and that's no shot at Rhea. I just think it's kind of a played out storyline on TV.
Yeah, I don't think they've. Well, I was going to say that I don't think they haven't really captured the true essence of Rhea like they had her in NXT. I think a lot of the interesting parts of her character in NXT have kind of been left off the chopping floor as well when it comes to the main roster, and I think that's what's turned off a lot of people on this feud as well.
But
I got a tweet from Peacock, by the way, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, what's the tweet you got from Peacock there? Is this about the streaming issues tonight?
Yeah, Peacock TV Care, which is they got the little blue check mark, so they're official.
You reached out to them, they reached out back to you.
No, I did not. I just they responded to my anybody else dealing with a choppy Peacock tweet. This is my first tweet about it after the issues had started during the interview or the segment with Riddle and Boogs and Nakamura. We greatly appreciate your feedback and we'll be sure to pass the feedback along for internal review. Please know that the replay for Money in the Bank 2021 will be available shortly. Feel free to reach back out if you should have any further questions. Boy, I'm sure they're copying and pasting that tweet a trillion times right now.
Yeah. I that's not on WWE because I understand everyone who had the network internationally didn't have that issue, but hopefully it's not a problem at SummerSlam. You got to understand that that's a tune-out thing for a lot of people. So
yeah, there's going to be some meetings this week. I have a feeling.
Well, imagine how many people turned the show off and they didn't know that John Cena came back.
Yeah.
And then they see the tweets about it and they're like, I turned it off because I thought the stream didn't work.
Yep.
That's going to be a real issue for people. And that's not a shot at WWE. That's like, it's just a tech issue. Somebody's getting yelled at here. But let's talk about this. Charlotte Flair cannot be doubted. She cannot be doubted. All right. She cannot be doubted. All right. Here's a comment from Lindsay Luke. Charlotte Flair is not the greatest. She's not the greatest. She only gets opportunities because she's Ric Flair's daughter, period. She needs to let other women get a chance. Here's the thing, Lindsay, you're wrong. All right, Lindsay. And here's why you're wrong. And Lindsay, I want you to keep watching the show and you keep watching it and you and I can disagree. And you may think, the guy who's mean on the stream said that thing. No. Lindsay, I need to address this. All right. I need to address this because Charlotte gets that so much because you've heard it enough. Because why is she always in these positions and something like that? She is the gatekeeper. All right. Rhea got her run. The booking didn't work. Rhea will go down and someone go up. You know who went up? It was Nikki Cross, who's been there a long, long time, has probably earned the opportunity of trying a new character. And it's for WWE with younger female fans and younger fans in general, boys and girls. This is a character they need. They need to play to all these different audiences. And Charlotte can be the heel against that. She can be the ice queen against that person. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, it makes sense. But here's an example of why Charlotte is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. The crowd wanted Becky and they chanted, "We want Becky." And they didn't even get to lock up. You notice that they didn't even touch each other before the crowd said, "Oh, this is the match we want to shit on." Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to shit on this match. And it's a part of WWE shows. People want to turn on things. Right. Yeah. And so that's what they're trying to do. Right. They want to tell the corporation, this is what we want. They want to try and have their take over the show moment. Right. What did Charlotte do? What did Charlotte and Rhea do? You know what they did? They put the cast out and reeled you in like a big mouth bass and nearly stole the show.
Gave us a classic.
This was a better match than they had at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. The first one.
Yep.
In no audience.
Yep.
No one was chanting, "We want Becky" by the end of that match.
Nope.
They stopped doing it pretty quickly because you know what they were chanting in the middle of the match? "This is awesome."
Yep.
Because they were on board and they cared about both characters by the end of the match. And Rhea lost the title, but had one of her most significant matches in WWE, losing a title match in which they literally did not have the crowd at the beginning of the match and wrestled them, literally forced them with their talent and exceeded beyond the circumstances of what they were in and delivered. Think about that. It is undeniable. You heard it. You saw it. You can't flip the script. This isn't like a studio space. There was no pressed wave button crowd says sound. No. All right. You can argue about, they just did this or that. No. Charlotte Flair did that because she's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley did that because she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So there you go. JT Goodman checking in here saying, Lindsay, you know you don't agree with me. It's okay. If you don't like Charlotte Flair, tell me about the other wrestlers you love. I'd rather you tell me about the wrestlers you love than wrestlers you don't love. Rhea looked very strong. Kicked out in the top rope natural selection. That was brutal. Did you see the natural selection off the top rope? Her head went right into the rope. I was like, how did she even kick out of that? Yeah, what do you think, man?
That was nice, and like he finished on then just the brutality of kicking those stairs over and over to set up that figure eight, and then the angle of the figure eight that Charlotte put on there was that was pretty high angle, and Rhea literally had nowhere to go and nothing else to do but tap out. And to kind of follow up on that, I mean, just if you think Charlotte's had everything handed to her, watch the early days of NXT. If you watched her debut, of course, Ric Flair was there in her debut, actually took on Bayley on that debut. But if you watch the early days of her career in NXT, nothing was handed to her. She built herself up. She didn't even want to wrestle. It was her brother's death that got her into wrestling. So she didn't even want to wrestle. And then she's turned into one of the greatest performers in the women's division over this past decade. So you look at the early days of NXT, which are on the network, and you'll see that it wasn't just given to her. So.
This was a really, really fun show overall. There were several matches that kind of exceeded expectations. If you haven't seen it, the Usos are now the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions in a really, really great match. They got to have the kickoff match in the show, defeating the Mysterios. They one of the Usos took the 619 for his brother. I believe it was Jimmy who took it so that Jay couldn't get it, and that kind of like helped them reverse things around. And then Dominic got rolled up, and the brother reached in to make sure he could press more weight on his other brother without the referee seeing, to make sure they could secure the win with a dirty pinfall. 7-time tag team champions, but that didn't stop the internet from saying, how does someone who gets a DUI a week ago get another WWE championship? And this isn't the first time this has happened.
No, it ain't. It's not. And I don't, it's not a great pattern to follow, but it's clear WWE doesn't really care about those things. And, it could have been much worse. Unfortunately,
I understand that. Separating this from the match itself, this was a great match. I'm not going to say this wasn't a great match, man.
No.
Like, if you watch the match, it was absolutely fantastic here. It was really, really special. Here we go. Here's Riddle texting, and not that Riddle, saying the Usos did good. Fire emoji, a thumbs up emoji. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. You absolutely liked it here.
And it was time to have the whole bloodline have gold. There had to have been a moment in this whole tremendous story,
and it means more now for the Mysterios. I think to try and get it back. I think it means more.
Clearly, showing up in the main event means they're not done with the Usos. So
I almost wish what fun it would have been if they held off on the Mysterios winning it in front of a live crowd.
Right, I know. I don't know why
woulda, shoulda stuff. They needed to have fun moments like that in the Thunderdome. They needed to have special stuff like that.
But I don't think it's the last time they get the titles either. So,
and also, how about Dominic? Just 2 nights in a row in front of crowds, and he's perfect, man. Yeah. This guy's fits in perfectly. No one's complaining about Dominic getting this because he's Rey Mysterio's son.
It hasn't phased him being in front of live crowds for the first time on Friday and tonight. It hasn't phased him. He's continued to up his game, and we're like I said, I don't think we've seen the last of father son as a tag team champion.
Also one of our very own at Sportskeeda, Greg Bush, texting here saying they turned the crowd. He's talking about Becky and Rhea here. Charlotte and Rhea. They turned it from those "we want Becky" chants to "this is awesome." I mean, how can you deny how great those two are? I can say this is somebody who's been around backstage at independent wrestling shows.
Yeah,
and I've seen similar situations with hardcore independent fans. All right, at AAW shows where they are the hardest to the hardcore fans. Right. And I'm just talking about the craft of storytelling in a ring and getting a crowd to react to you and be the third person in the show is the crowd and how they respond to what you do. And that's how you really get to tell the best stories. And I've seen guys go out there where they think, all right, we have this story, we want to do it. And we don't have them because it's something else or some other BS or something, right? And somebody heckling the ring, right? And then the wrestlers now have to double down and they have to acknowledge it enough. And you have Charlotte who literally flipped the bird at the audience and then wrestled them into the palm of her hand. And I think maybe that's the part that pisses people off the most is that, she did that and she's Ric Flair's kid.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's not fair. My faves. What about my faves that I stand for? I don't stand for her.
Peacock tried to censor that bird, and you figure Peacock loves birds. I don't know why they tried to censor it. I mean,
also it's a streaming service. It's not like it's over, You know what I mean? This isn't like on television. You don't have FCC regulations.
There's much worse stuff in the ECW stuff that they left in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
that they've left in. People complain about some things they took out, but those are few and far in between, and honestly don't age well, so they deserve to be taken out.
Okay. This I'll take. Tanya saying, I don't deny how great and Charlie and Rhea are, but I would have loved to see Becky back.
Yeah.
I think there was a problem, though, because Becky did put out that tweet today where she's at the arena.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's posing in a picture right next to the Dickies Arena at like 5:15, like 2 hours before the show started.
Yeah. And maybe it was more indicative of people wanting to see Becky back because it's been 16 months since we've last saw
say
Becky.
We don't get that tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll probably get it tomorrow night. So maybe it wasn't indicative on crapping on Charlotte and Rhea, and where it was more of just oh hell yeah.
Oh, that's right. Christopher wants oh hell yeah, Texas flipping out Bart.
One beer.
Drink
Two
a little
beers.
bit. Drink a little bit Dr. Pepper for the
3
working
beers.
smart mark, for the Sportskeeda, for the Rizu Dash Batuta, for all them good mothers and sisters and brothers.
Give me some scotch. 4 beers. 5 beers. What?
Oh hell yeah! What you chugging there? You doing some Diet Coke?
Diet Pepsi.
There we go. All right,
so Diet Pepsi for the working man.
Another match that exceeded expectations. A match that hid weaknesses and highlighted strengths was the strong, super tall, powerful device of storytelling that is Omos, as he tagged with AJ Styles to take on the Viking Raiders, who I thought at one point were going to win this match. It was so much teeter-tottering back and forth. An impressive maneuver where Omos was used as like this rocket to launch AJ
great.
Styles in one of the prettiest Hurricane Ranas I've ever seen outside of the ring.
I
really
just thought
impressive.
I just thought it was going to be a regular dive, and he turned it into a Hurricane Rana. I'm like, holy crap! This is why AJ Styles is like one of the best of our generation. And
44 years old. AJ Styles is 44 years old, and he's doing that. So remember that. And the big man almost got to press slam a 325 man above his head and slam him. Now, Omos is still very new, and he still looked very new. Yeah. And he's still a very, very big man who has to move with that weight and all those different things. But they hit a lot of his weaknesses or shortcomings and just highlighted his strength. Omos and AJ Styles still the champions. I didn't mind them keeping the belts. I'm okay with them keeping the belts.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders can still have a run at this, and the Raiders didn't look like they got squashed.
And AJ's music hit, that was another one of those tremendous pops of the night as well. And I've said this before on our top story. Almost is just like Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, gave him basic movesets, did not do much early on in his career, and then look what he was able to do later on. Of course, now he's not with the company anymore. I think Omos is going to be in that same boat, but he's a little further behind. He really is new. I think he started in 2019, did not get much work in NXT at all before he got called up to do the Raw Underground stuff. So, it's a work in progress, but the basic stuff they give him, like how his elbow into the corner, he does that with such quickness for a big man. It looks impressive as hell. Even just seeing him run the ropes.
He's not trying to do anything he can't pull off.
Yeah. So it's just adding piece by piece as he.
And if he's a set piece guy where you're just using his size and somebody else, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that because if it keeps him from being hurt, if it keeps him from hurting other people just because he's bigger, right? That I'm okay with that. And if your thing is, well, we want younger big men, and that's what we want to focus on. All right, but I mean, I don't think he can do this forever.
If there's a guy to hang out with and learn from, it's one
AJ Styles.
It's one of the best of our generation in AJ Styles. I mean, AJ Styles has been doing this for 20 years, and he's been dazzling us all the way from TNA up to now, and just continues to be literally one of the best wrestlers of our generation. So,
read this comment from Jamie. Jamie, read this comment from Jamie. This is a brutal comment. Now, for folks that are listening to podcasts, if you're listening or watching on demand, you're just not paying attention. People text into the show, and we pull up the text on screen in real time. So we're not saying this.
Underdog, put that on a t-shirt.
Jamie is texting in saying, my son, who is 11, looked at Osmo, almost, and said, why is Shaq wrestling? Why is Shaquille O'Neal wrestle? Well, Shaquille O'Neal wrestles. He wrestles for AEW.
I don't look like that guy.
And he wrestled there. Speaking of internet darlings, we have somebody saying Parker Bordeaux, who has not had a match in WWE yet, is going to dethrone Roman Reigns.
There's a saying called "greener than goose," and Parker Bordeaux is green. He's not even close to being ready yet. So.
We have Laborio Romo saying, "Great pay-per-view for the record books. This is the show the haters. WWE does have the power to put on a good show." I agree with you here. This is an irrefutably good program.
I don't get the WWE marks that only rag on AEW and vice versa. AEW marks that'll only rag on WWE. You know, you love a good product, just love a good product for what it is. And so many products are now coming together. I mean, you look at Bound for Glory. Every promotion under the sun is coming together apparently for Bound for Glory with AAA, with AEW, with New Japan. It's a great time for pro wrestling. So, just enjoy it. Enjoy. What do we always say at the end of the show? Enjoy wrestling. But,
all right. If you're just joining us, give us your 1 to 10. Here's how we end everything. We always give it the culminating, completely, absolutely irrefutable. This is the definitive rating of the show. No, it isn't. Obviously, people are gonna have different reactions to the show. I think the worst part of it was probably the technical issues. Outside of that, I don't think there was a dud of a match on this show. I mean, like Lashley and Kofi felt like more of an angle than anything. Yeah. If that was that wouldn't be, I would say if that's the worst match on a pay-per-view, it's not a bad pay-per-view to think about it, and anyone who lost in this match, I don't feel like anyone was buried. I don't feel like anyone got buried in this. Edge looked valiant and has Rollins now, and has a reason to go after Rollins, and gets to continue to be the passionate character he is that cuts these great promos. What a great response he got to when he came out. And you have John Cena back now. You have so much forward momentum, and the people that lost matches look strong. The people that won matches look stronger than when they came in. We have people giving the show 8s and 9s and 10s. I give this show, because of Texas. All right, we're getting a 10 here from South Africa. That's awesome here. I give this show. Yeah, so Lindsay's giving it a soft 7. Charlotte winning is the worst thing tonight. She still doesn't like Charlotte, Lindsay. I'm not going to get you to budge on that. I don't mind bringing up people's names multiple times on the show, by the way, if you can't tell. So come on back if you're watching for the first time. I give this show an 8.7 out of 10. Why almost a 9? Why not a 10? It's not perfect. There wasn't some perfect things about it. No show is perfect. But it was so special and magical. And there were several parts of the night where I got the goosebumpy feels. And I think if I was at the show, I probably would give it a 10 because it was so special and unique. And there's so many kids having the best time they've probably had in a long, long time there. And wrestling fans having a good time there as well. I think that should be our new protocols. People give us their ratings and they have to tell us where they're giving their rating from.
Yeah, definitely.
People loving that Applebee ads. So let's hear your rating, buddy. 1 out of 10. What do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
Okay,
solid 8. I would say 8. There were the early parts had some good matches, and then the final 3 matches really brought it. So I think half of it was really good. And then the final 3 matches with Charlotte, Rhea, men's Money in the Bank, and the main event, Roman and Edge, really brought it. I think with Lashley and Kingston not really having much drama to it. In the first couple matches, the women's Money in the Bank and the Raw tag being good, I'd say very good. I'm going to give it a solid 8. A solid 8. A solid 8.
A solid 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for joining us here for the first time. If you had a really good time, hammer that like button. I know a lot of people join us for the first time after pay-per-views and different stuff like that. But here's what you can check out. We have a lot of different content for you. Okay. If you enjoy shows like this with me and all the other video dudes, we're doing Top Story of the Day every weekday, right around 5 p.m. Central. That is right around 5 p.m. Central. So make sure your notifications are on Facebook or YouTube so you can catch that. In terms of YouTube exclusives, these are only over on YouTube. You can catch Vince Russo reviewing Monday Night Raw every single Monday night. We have the debrief every Wednesday that covers AEW and NXT. We're doing some really, really cool stuff with that. And then every Friday night after SmackDown, we now have Dutch Mantel doing Smack Talk, covering that. Plus, popping up every single week, interviews with the biggest names. Thursday nights, we go extra deep. We have a show that really focuses on the deepest issues of the week, and that is a show called Inside Cradle. Our most recent episode featured an interview with Natalia. A lot of fun. We do a lot of different content every single week. If you haven't checked us out before on YouTube or Facebook, please do it. But we know, obviously, on pay-per-views, these are nights that people kind of pop in and pay attention to stuff like this. Thank you so much. I had a really good time. You can check me out on the radio. If you have the TuneIn streaming app or any other radio apps, you can check me out on 97.7 QLZ every morning, Monday through Friday. And you can also get me middays on 104.9 The X in Rockford. A lot of rock music, a lot of this type of rock music, real rock music for rock and roll people like you. Jeremy, I know you're busy with your own podcast affairs.
Yep, I am the host of Lost in the Midcard with fellow Sportskeeda writer Matt Black. We've been going at it for about 6.5 years now. We are inching ever so close to episode 300, even hit that big 300. So search for Lost in the Midcard in your any of your favorite podcasts, your favorite podcasting apps, iTunes, also Spotify. And also, we're on the YouTube. We got a video version, so go give us a subscribe ski.
You're on the YouTube?
The YouTube. the YouTube. So, and then everything all together at litmcpodcast.com, where we have, you can follow us on Twitter, and then all the subscribe links are there. Usually drop shows every Thursday afternoon for you. We record right after Dynamite and talk about the week. All promotions, have a lot of fun with it.
If you guys are joining us on demand, continue to tell us what you thought of Money in the Bank and check out all of the content we have coming up. Thank you so much. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Whether or not this was the greatest wrestling show of all time, it shows that life as we know it in some form is coming back. So if you're out there, this isn't me speaking for Sportskeeda or anyone else. This is just Kevin from the south side of Chicago telling you, get your vaccination. And if you're not going to get your vaccination, stay safe, keep your masks on, keep your distance, do the things you got to do when you go to events like this, and get tested before you go to them out of consideration for other people as we kind of get our way out of this thing, as it still is very much a threat to people around the world. All right. That is just me not talking for Sportskeeda. I know people have been affected by it. Jeremy, I know you know people have been affected by it. It's still a real thing. All right. And maybe you don't take it as seriously as other people, and that's okay. But just understand, we're still getting through it, and we get to do fun things like this all the time because we are doing that. Right.
Exactly.
All right, so we march on here. Remember, stay safe out there. Do the most important thing when watching wrestling. We can argue about whether or not Charlotte Flair deserves that. I don't think Charlotte Flair deserves that thing that they gave Charlotte Flair. Why would they do that for Charlotte? Calm down. All right, calm down and just you can be angry at $1 billion corporation because you don't think they did the things that are in your head that you tweet about to your 5 Twitter followers. Just calm down. And remember, when watching wrestling, you do the most important thing, which is what, Jeremy?
Enjoy wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,